This boy was unbelievably bold, because he actually confessed to two girls at the same time, and both of them said yes. They were completely smitten with him, but that still wasn't his limit, because he was about to have 100 girlfriends. Yet back in middle school, Koiaro wasn't popular at all. Every time he confessed to a girl, he was rejected without hesitation. After being turned down by the 100th girl, Koiaro went to a shrine to make a wish. He hoped that the god of love, who governs romance, could bless him with a girlfriend once he entered high school, and unexpectedly, the god of love actually appeared. The god of love planned to grant Koiaro's wish. He also said that once Koiaro started high school, his soulmate would immediately show up. But Koiaro didn't understand what soulmate meant. The god of love told Koiaro that a soulmate is someone who gives you an electric feeling when you meet, and then, you fall hopelessly in love with each other. Just as Koiaro was overwhelmed with excitement, the god of love announced that he would meet not one, but 100 soulmates. Soon after, Koiaro entered high school, and the god of love really hadn't lied to him. On the first day of school, Koiaro accidentally bumped into two girls. Instantly, a surge of electricity ran through all three of them, and right away, the two girls fell head over heels for him. When Koiaro stood up and tried to help them up, both girls pretended they had twisted their ankles. With no other choice, Koiaro supported both of them and headed toward the infirmary. Along the way, they introduced themselves. The pink-haired girl was named Hanakari, the blonde girl was named Karine, and the three of them were even in the same class. Just then, some classmates passing by were talking about a rumor. They said that if you find a four-leaf clover in the school garden, you'll be able to start dating the person you like. After hearing this, the two girls ran off immediately. Before long, it was time to go home, but to Koiaro's surprise, Hanakari and Karine were still searching for four-leaf clovers at school. Koiaro bought 2 drinks and went downstairs. When they saw him, Karine shyly explained that she definitely wasn't looking for four-leaf clovers. Koiaro handed her a drink anyway. She accepted it and then walked off, blushing. At that moment, Koiaro realized how different the two girls' personalities were. Karine was always a little tsundere. Just then, Hanakari returned, so Koiaro handed her the other drink as well. When Hanakari took the drink, she suddenly had an idea. She told Koiaro she couldn't finish it by herself, and asked him to drink half of it first. Her goal was to share an indirect kiss with him. After taking a few sips, he handed the drink to Hanakari, but Hanakari got so excited that she accidentally spilled the drink. Koiaro quickly handed her his handkerchief, but Hanakari instead grabbed Koiaro's hand and confessed to him. It was the first time in his life a girl had confessed to him first. But just then, Karine returned carrying a bunch of drinks. She immediately accused Hanakari of trying to get close to Koiaro while she was away, and then Karine confessed her feelings to him as well. Facing two girls confessing at the same time, Koiaro had no idea what to do. He could only find an excuse and run off. That night, Koiaro thought long and hard, but still couldn't decide who to choose. So he went to the shrine and asked the god of love which one of the two girls was actually his soulmate. But the god of love said that both of them were. Normally, a person is supposed to have only one soulmate, but when the god of love was filling out Koiaro's soulmate count, he made a mistake. He accidentally wrote down 100 soulmates for Koiaro. Koiaro was completely overwhelmed, but the god of love told him that he had to date both girls at the same time, otherwise, one of them would lose their life. The next day, covered in dirt, Koiaro called Hanakari and Karine to the school field. He told them his decision. He wanted both of them to be his girlfriends at the same time. Karine immediately got upset, but Koiaro told them seriously that he truly liked both of them. He couldn't bear to give up either one. Just as Karine was about to argue again, Koiaro pulled out 2 four-leaf clovers. It turned out he was so exhausted, because he had spent the entire night searching for them. Moved by his sincerity, Hanakari agreed first. After all, she was already hopelessly in love with him. Seeing this, Karine reluctantly agreed as well. On the way to school, Hanakari took the initiative to hold Koiaro's hand. Seeing Karine look flustered, Koiaro grabbed her hand too. Even though Karine was thrilled, she still tried to act tough on the outside, and so the three of them walked to school hand in hand. As soon as they arrived, Hanakari suddenly asked whether Koiaro still had his first kiss. Both girls, after hearing that he did, immediately decided they wanted to be the one to take it, but Koiaro had no idea that a war was about to break out. During lunch break, Hanakari took advantage of the moment when Karine was distracted by a cat. She pulled out her homemade lunch and started feeding Koiaro. Koiaro was so touched that he teared up. Seeing this, Karine quickly brought out the cookies she made for him. After taking a bite, Koiaro teared up again. Then Hanakari suddenly had another idea. She tried to feed him a chocolate stick using her mouth. Karine also grabbed one with her mouth to compete, but Koiaro suddenly sneezed. Karine immediately asked if he had caught a cold. Hanakari instantly bumped her out of the way. Watching the two girls fighting over him, Koiaro suddenly thought of a solution. He suggested that the three of them kiss while blindfolded, so neither of the two girls would need to compete for his first kiss, and everyone could keep the sweetness of their first romantic moment. The three of them linked pinkies and promised not to cheat. Then the game began, but all sorts of accidents happened. Koiaro kept getting hurt for no reason. He even almost fell off the balcony at one point, so they had no choice but to stop the game. But the war between the girls didn't end. Seeing them still arguing non-stop, Koiaro decided to end it once and for all. The next day, the three went to the library together. Hanakari and Karine wanted to look for recipes to cook something delicious for him. Koiaro planned to find some books to read too, but just as he reached for a romance book, he accidentally touched another girl's hand, and with that same familiar spark, Koiaro knew this girl was his third soulmate. She gave the book to him politely. Then she took out another book. She used the text in the book to communicate with him. She was the library assistant, and she had extreme communication anxiety. She couldn't talk normally to people. To respect her, Koiaro also used gestures to tell her that he wanted to look for romance novels. Soon, the girl found a huge stack of them for him. Seeing Koiaro's stunned reaction, she quickly apologized, but Koiaro didn't want to waste her kindness, so he decided to borrow all the books. But at the front desk, the staff told him that for first-time borrowers, he had to wait a week to get his library card. Koiaro was troubled. To comfort him, the girl lent him the romance novel she was holding. Then Koiaro asked her name. She immediately took out her student ID for him to see. Only then did Koiaro realize that this girl named Shizuka was actually his classmate. But Shizuka didn't blame him. After all, it had only been 2.5 days since school started. It was normal that he hadn't remembered her face. After saying goodbye to Shizuka, Koiaro went back to find his two girlfriends. Seeing how hard they were studying recipes just to make him lunch, he was so moved that tears streamed down his face again. At night, Koiaro started reading the novel Shizuka had lent him. The story was about a romance between a knight and a princess. One day, the princess encountered a fierce dragon. The brave knight stepped forward to protect her. He managed to defeat the dragon, but the knight himself was badly injured. While the princess treated his wounds, she began developing feelings for him. But one day, the king suddenly decided to send the princess to another kingdom for a political marriage. The knight of course disagreed, but with his status, there was no way he could change the king's decision. Reading this part made Koiaro cry, but that was also the end of the first volume. So the next day, Koiaro immediately went to find Shizuka. He told her how much he liked the story. Shizuka had already prepared the second volume for him. She handed the book to him with her cheeks turning red. After taking the book, Koiaro also felt a little embarrassed. He bought Shizuka a cup of coffee. While they chatted, Koiaro learned that Shizuka could express herself so accurately using the novel's lines because she read the story over and over again. After thanking her once more, Koiaro left. But ever since then, Shizuka waited every day for Koiaro to come talk to her. Yet 2.5 days passed, and Koiaro didn't look for her even once, until the third afternoon after school, when Shizuka ran into Koiaro on a date with his two girlfriends. Seeing that Koiaro already had someone he liked, and not just one, but two, Shizuka felt her heart sink, but she didn't blame Koiaro. After all, no one had ever liked her since she was a child. It reminded her of all her painful memories. Because of her communication disorder, she couldn't properly speak to people, so she had been isolated by her classmates since she was young. Even her mother often scolded and hit her. Just when Shizuka was trying to completely forget about Koiaro, he suddenly came to find her. He then asked Shizuka to take out her phone and download an app. When Shizuka opened it, she found the story of the knight and the princess inside. Koiaro asked her to tap the text on the screen. It turned out to be a text-to-speech app, and every single word in that app was what Koiaro had stayed up late typing in, night after night. After learning the truth, Shizuka was deeply moved. Koiaro then asked her to try using it to say something to him, and the first words Shizuka spoke were a confession to Koiaro. Just like that, Koiaro gained another girlfriend. Afterward, Koiaro brought Shizuka to meet Hanakari and Karine. Karine was instantly furious. there was no way she could accept this, but Hanakari was surprisingly touched, because Koiaro didn't abandon them even after falling for another girl. Koiaro quickly explained that he wasn't dating Shizuka because he lost interest in them. His feelings for them hadn't changed at all. In fact, he treasured them even more than before. Hearing that, the two girls reluctantly accepted it. That day, Koiaro accidentally left his phone in the classroom. When he went back to get it, he saw that the top student, Nagi, was still studying, so he reminded her that the midterm results were already posted, and asked if she wanted to go check, but Nagi said there was no point. She already knew she would be ranked first, so going there would only waste time. However, the moment she and Koiaro looked into each other's eyes, a spark shot through both of them. Koiaro instantly realized that she was his fourth soulmate, but Nagi stayed unbelievably calm, unlike the three girls who had reacted before. Seeing this, Koiaro thought he must have imagined it, so he hurried out of the room, but during biology class, he ended up seated next to Nagi again. When the microscope activity started, Koiaro brought the microscope over, planning to observe the onion sample with her, but Nagi said doing that was pointless and a waste of time, but the teacher didn't agree with her answer, so she had no choice but to follow the instructions. Then she placed the textbook illustration under the microscope instead. Koiaro could only sigh at this, so he began slicing an onion sample for her, but he accidentally cut his finger just as he was about to wash the cut with water. Nagi calmly said that saliva had disinfecting and hemostatic properties. After class, Koiaro wanted to buy a drink to thank her, but Nagi rejected it immediately. To her, getting water through fruit juice was completely inefficient. Plain water was more direct. Koiaro didn't know what to say. He never expected a girl who analyzed everything in terms of efficiency. Seeing how cold she was toward him, he assumed she wasn't his soulmate after all. But when Nagi returned home, she instantly realized that she really had fallen for him. However, she felt that being in a relationship would only distract her from her studies, so she started reciting digits of pi to calm herself down, but it didn't work at all. Nagi knew that if this continued, she would just waste even more time, so the next day after school, she immediately confessed to Koiaro. Koiaro happily accepted her feelings, but then, out of nowhere, Nagi rejected him again. It turned out she had planned on being rejected by him instead, so she could focus entirely on studying afterward. She never expected him to accept her confession. Now she felt she had no choice but to reject him, because she believed romance would only waste her precious study time. But Koiaro refused to give up. He kept trying to persuade her. Nagi began wavering, but quickly tried to calm herself again by reciting pi. Eventually, Nagi agreed she would date him for one day. On the weekend, the two of them went to an amusement park. Koiaro's plan was to make Nagi as happy as possible, so she would want to stay with him forever, but Nagi found the rides childish, and nothing Koiaro did seemed to interest her. So Koiaro used the ultimate move of all boyfriends, the Ferris wheel date. To his surprise, it actually worked, because Nagi was afraid of heights. The moment the Ferris wheel rose into the air, she grabbed onto Koiaro's sleeve. Seeing this, Koiaro gently held her hand. He thought that moment would finally define their relationship, but on their way home, Nagi told him that she held onto him simply because she was scared. Hearing that, Koiaro felt completely defeated. He even planned to burn every photo they took that day, but Nagi suddenly grabbed all the photos from his hands. Koiaro explained that if Nagi was afraid of losing him, then that already meant she cared about him. Their connection wasn't a waste of time at all. After calming down, Nagi agreed to date Koiaro for real. The next day, Koiaro introduced Nagi to the other three girls. Since this was already the second time a new girl had joined, Hanakari and Karine were annoyed, but didn't object. Shizuka, of course, had no objection at all, but the three girls were a bit jealous. After all, Koiaro and Nagi went to an amusement park together, while they still hadn't gone out with him anywhere, so Koiaro had no choice but to promise that he would take them out this weekend as well.